Hello and welcome back for more The Other Side of the Hill from NAC Wargames. We are in fall of 1942, starting off with the administrative phase, and pretty much we've done pretty good here in Russia, although our fronts are looking a little bit weak. So I have a feeling that we are about to see a bit of a turning of the tide here in the war. But we shall see. So we're going to go to the administrative phase. So we start with the bombing of Germany, but I am in complete control of the air over Germany, so no effect there. Now we can take German replacements. So I have 3 Wehrmacht replacements. So what I'm going to do with those is I'm going to take one here. I'm going to take one here, and I'm gonna switch this out for a regular strength army. So that's all 3 of those. I only have 2 Luftwaffe replacements, and I took a real severe beating last turn of the Luftwaffe took a real beating last turn. So we'll just increase these 2, so at least they're not on their one side, and then we'll spend our 1 strategic warfare replacement to increase that to 3, which is its maximum anyway, so pretty not that bad. Now we go to satellite replacements, and we're going to see if this last Italian army is going to join the fray. It is not. I need to roll a hit. I did not roll a hit. And now we are on to the production table. Now I have 14 instead of 13. So I'm going to move this out, and let's see. For production directives, let me just think about what I'm going to do for all these directives, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've looked at what I'm going to do. I'm moving military directives down to 1. I'm moving production directives down to up to 3, and I'm going to move this one up to 2. So that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I've used up all of my production points. So now let's talk about the idea behind spending that. Well, production directives, I'm going to do 2 things, one of which I'm not going to be very proud of, but I am going to play forced labor, and I'm going to move 1 replacement marker 1 box to the right. So we'll move that 1 box to the right with that card. It goes back into the deck. And then I'm going to play my V weapons project. So I come over here and I grab the V weapons project marker. That's it, right? Yes. And I put it on the 2 space. You can see it says development 2 and then advance on a 3+. So now I roll a die, and if I roll a 3 or better, it advances. You do roll the first turn. It doesn't advance, but because it doesn't advance, I get to put that -1 there. So now it's going to advance on a 2+. And project cards go back in. You can go back into the deck after you play them if the project hasn't completed. So that goes back in. So that's my production directives. And then political directives, I'm simply going to play this bribing generals again. There's not a lot of interest to do at this point in the game on the political front, except for that. Now, military directives is interesting. Let's look at this. I've got basically 3 military directives possible. One is Nordlicht, which is the conquest of Leningrad. But I feel like, and I could have played that, but I feel like I'm not going to succeed at it, and all I'm going to do is create casualties. And right now, I'd kind of like to take a breather and not create casualties. There's Fallblau 1, which maybe that's what I should have played last time, but I kind of missed that it was in there. But anyway, I don't need to play that because I've already taken Maikop and Stalingrad. And then there's this, and I definitely would play this. This is an offensive in Libya or Egypt, but these guys are isolated. And so the result of that is that I'd be rolling a white die here. So that wouldn't be particularly good. So I'm going to have to kind of hope that that goes up again. And in fact, I think now that I think about it, as a result of that, I'm gonna actually spend rather than spending like the one to move that up, I'm gonna spend one to move this up because I'm hoping to reopen this port, hopefully, knock on wood, because that'll get that back into control or back unisolated. Then I could actually have an offensive here. Now, mind you, I'm reasonably certain there's a very high chance that the Allies pull off a landing this turn. Anyway, so military directives, I'm not actually going to choose one. And I went and just checked the rules just to make sure, but you don't have to choose one. It's optional. So I'm not going to choose a military directive. So we're going to have a quiet turn. So now strategic warfare, I'm rolling 3 dice and one of them is gray. So we're going to do that. 3 dice and one of them is gray. So that's that. And I get a card, which is going to be a strategic event. And let's see, I think that's just going to be 1 hit. So I draw that card that the assault gun has no effect. I have 1 hit. And for each hit, oh no, I have to roll to see how many hits they get. Then we see what happens. Okay, so I got 1 hit and I'm drawing a strategic event card. Let's see. The Allies are going to be rolling three dice. So they're going to roll those 3 dice. That's going to be ugly. So they get 1 hit. They get 3 hits. So Western Ally hits are created. The head of production distributes the difference between the strategic. He distributes the difference between the strategic warfare and the air naval control tracks in the Germany boxes he wishes. -1 for every hit. Got it. Okay. Wording's a little strange because basically I'm distributing the difference between the rolls and I'm distributing it on the strategic warfare and the air naval control tracks. So I'm going to, the difference is 2, so I'm going to reduce that by, I'm going to reduce strategic warfare by 2. Since I've got a bunch of replacements coming, I can probably afford to do that. Maybe. Technically, let's see. I'm here now. So just to be complete. Okay, so that is strategic warfare. Now we're doing movement. So I don't think I want to do any movement here. I'm mostly going to be defending, obviously, this and this and this are, weak, but the ones I want to defend the most heavily are these 2 because there's production. Actually, now they can't do an offensive here. So actually, we can take that opportunity now that I think about it to move 1 and 1 because from last turn they had a no offensive marker there, so we don't have to worry about that this particular turn. Okay, so that's, well, and then movement here, I can't, I couldn't anyway because I'm at my stacking limit here, but I also have a closed port, so I can't get any, and that area is isolated. I don't want to do any front movement, and I don't want to transfer any air assets around. So we are just going to leave everything else as it is during movement. And then we're doing the command phase. Now, I don't believe that I'm in a situation. I think every place here has commanders. So I don't think I need to do anything. Actually, no, this one doesn't get an army group because it doesn't have 3 German units or 2 German units. So I'm not doing anything down there. Okay. So that is the end of command. Let me just make sure there's nothing more to the command before I move on. Okay. The only other thing, I mean, I kind of knew this, so I was glossing over it, but just to be super clear, the first thing I would have done is if any of my generals had been on their question side, I would have rolled for them, but none of them are. And then I would have sort of seen what was going on. If any of them had been dismissed, I would have, at that point, been able to appoint a replacement, but none of that's happening. So then we've got the Axis offensive, and I don't believe I'm doing anything. But again, I'm going to just double check if like I don't have anything, if I don't have a military directive, if I just do nothing. But I have no combat pawn, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Well, that was pretty easy. It says if there's no military directive, you just skip it. So now we go to the Western offensive. So first things first, we're going to see about this landing. And we know from last time that the landing had a lot of falls in it. So landing 1942 fall. So the priority is 18, 26, 28, 24. 18 is Britain, which we have not done. And then 26 is Northern Africa. So they are going to execute a landing into Northern Africa. Okay, so the first thing I do is I'm going to activate that country as an Axis satellite. So, Vichy becomes an Axis satellite. So that is here. So the Vichy, France becomes an active satellite. I don't remember. I don't remember if I should be placing one there or not. Okay, so Vichy is southern France and northern Africa, but they don't have any armies, so don't have to worry about that. Next, if only one sector in the area has a landing threat symbol, place a Western control disk in it. If more than one sector in the area has a landing threat, so I'm going to roll 1d6 and place a Western control disk in that sector. So I'm going to roll. And I roll a 6. That seems really bad. They basically just land in Tunis and take complete control of that area. Like in one fell swoop, they take control of that area. All right. Wow, that's not great. Move the Axis control disk in the area to the sector with the next lowest number. That's not possible. Place the Western alignment. Move the one landing marker. Okay. Place a no Western offensive in the place where it occurred. So no Western offensive there, and this landing marker goes out of the game. So the Allies have landed in Africa. Oh dear. Okay, well, that's not great. I don't think it's great anyway. Let's see. Okay, a couple of things I kind of forgot to do here. They don't really matter anymore, but just for completeness sake, technically I should have put an open port here when I activated it. Now, mind you, it would, I mean, it's not closed, it's still open. But the accident, had the Allies been here, that would have unisolated that area. But unfortunately, now that the Allies have taken complete control of North Africa, that port doesn't help me get supply into here, which is unfortunate. But I should have actually placed an open port there and a naval supply token there. But actually, I should still place a naval supply token there now that I think about that. Let's just keep it simple and oops. We'll grab this, we'll clone that, put that there. Because we know that the Allies are in supply there. So that is the Western landings. Now we're going to check for Western offensive. And pretty simple. The Western offensive is going to be potentially there. So we're going to draw a card. So the attack is air and 2 dice. So let me just remind myself. Roll 1 Western combat, subtract 1. These 1 result is rolled. Okay. So we are going to roll 1 of these. And we didn't get an air symbol, so we don't subtract 1 from the combat. So the allies are rolling 2 dice here in Libya. I am will be appointing, this doesn't take a huge amount of thought. We're going to be appointing Erwin Rommel as our leading general here. Okay, so we're defending in rough terrain. And so I think Kesselring, let's look at him. Where is Kesselring? If the marker is in the OB Sud box, roll 1 additional gray die instead of 1 white die for rough terrain. Okay, so we're going to get both Kesselring and Rommel's special combat capabilities here. So what that means is that we're rolling to start with, we're rolling 2 yellow dice and a black dice, because Rommel is going to make that into a 1 quality higher, and then we would be getting 1 white die for the rough terrain, but instead we are going to be getting a gray die for that because of Kesselring. So that is, we are rolling those 4, they're rolling those 2. Okay, so we got a tank, 2 events, and a hit, and they got a tank and an air. So first things first, we have to resolve the 2 events. No, the 1 event, sorry. I'm not thinking about this properly. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong set of dice. We have to resolve these 2 events. So let's go to our combat events deck. Hitler orders counterattack. If the Axis is the attacker, we are not. After resolving the current combat, apply 1 reduction to 1 German army, then flip the markers of the activated head of army group and leading general to their question side. And then I return that 1 to the deck. So, okay, I'm going to put this down here so I remember to do it, hopefully. And then I'll draw the second event. Flip the markers of the activated head of army group, if there is one, and the leading general to their question side. Well, so that is not going to, I mean, they're going to be questioned regardless. They are absolutely going to be questioned, but I also have to apply 1 reduction to 1 German army at the end of this. So those are those 2 taken care of. And then we're in rough terrain, so the tanks only count as a 1 hit. This air is used to reduce this by 1. So we actually do win 2 hits to 1. So the Axis, the defender, Axis hits is greater than allied hits, no retreat or reduction, leading general, +1. Okay, I don't have to do that. So we have to apply a reduction because of that card. So that causes us to do that. It's going to be hard to resupply that because of this port, unless I get very lucky. And then we would flip them both to questioned, but of course, they are already being questioned. And both those cards go back into that deck. We're getting down to the new year, so that's not super impactful. All right, so, and Rommel, the combat result is not a defeat, so Rommel, he goes back into the deck. He is our remaining 6 commander. So he's available there. Okay. So that is the Western Allied offensive phase. 1 casualty. Now for the Soviets. So we're going to check starting here. So come over here and we're going to check. 1942 attack is, if it's winter, I lose a step, but it is not winter, so I don't, so nothing happens there. Now we're going to check here, the attack between these 2 sectors. So again, that winter symbol. So we're drawing I think that's a strategic event. Strategic event. Strategic warfare value is down to 1. Odd, but okay. Not sure. Well, I guess that because they're trying to resupply here in Russia, that's the thinking, is that's what caused my strategic warfare to go down. Now we are going to be checking this front, and this will be our last check. And they are the white flag, and then they're attacking with 3 dice. So the white flag, eliminate 1 satellite army from the combat area. If there are no satellite armies, so we eliminate a satellite army. All right. So the Russians are rolling 3 dice. Let's pull those up here. And we are going to be rolling 2 gray and a white. Sorry. Yes, that's here. So we're going to be rolling 2 gray and a white. Now let's look at we don't have an OB, and our leader is, our army group head is von Weichs. So let's just take a look at what he's going to bring to the party. Von Weichs. +1 hit to the Axis combat roll, but that's only when you're attacking into rough. So let's see. I'm going to find the leading general now. Okay, so our leading general is going to be Hermann Hoth, who, defending in green terrain, which is what we're doing here, defending in green terrain or in a plain, he can change 1 hit result for a tank result, and tank results will be worth 2 here. So this is what we're rolling. And let's see how this goes. All right, so I'm going to change that for a tank result. So first things first, we're going to resolve that. So we are going to reduce air by 1, but let me make sure what happens in this case. Okay, so when that is at 1, there is no effect. So that's no effect. Actually, hang on 1 second. Let me just look at something really quickly. Okay. Since the value is 1, that actually turns into a hit. So we basically have equal amounts. So he's got 1, 2, Jesus. He's got 1 plus 2 plus 1. So he's got 4 and we've got 4. So the result here is a tie. So we apply 1 reduction or 1 retreat. And if we were to apply a retreat, we would be questioned. I'm not going to... Oh, boy, I really don't. I think I am going to apply a retreat here. Who gets questioned? I have so few units, and I really need to help try to build the Wehrmacht back up. I'm thinking it's time to start retreating a little bit here. That's still really far on the board, so I'm hoping that is going to be okay. The activated head of the army group is questioned. So von Vikes is questioned. So I'm going to have a bunch of guys next turn who are going to be potentially looking at dismissal. Okay. So that is, and we have no offensive here. So we will remove that. Not sure where that goes, but we'll just put that there for now. Oh, it goes right there. The symbol doesn't quite match. Okay. I don't have a military objective, so there's nothing to check there. So now I'm going to check supply. So we're going to see if maybe this port can open up again. Okay, so there's only one port we need to check for, and that's this. And we get +2 because we have air naval is 2. 5. Is it 7 or higher? 1 second. 7 or higher. All right, so that port is open and we have naval supply there, which is good because that means I can possibly reinforce that if I want to. There's a part of me that wonders whether I want to, if I'm being honest, however, because I don't know that I don't know that I want to keep fighting here because I'm going to be being attacked from both here and here, which is going to become very interesting, I think. Oh, actually, I guess they only get 1 pawn, so maybe it won't be that bad. Anyway, okay. So that is the supply check. No victory check. So now we're going to go through and the turn advances to 1943. And so the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go through the New Year phase, and then we'll close the video and we'll come back for winter next turn. So let me just check and make sure I know what happens during the New Year phase, and then we'll go through it, and then we'll be done. Okay. So the first thing that we do is we move all of our activated generals to they would be moved to the available general spot. I'm just going to put them here for now. I'm going to go back and redistribute them so that they're in seniority order later, but those are all in that box along with all of these guys. This kind of represents my available box. So let's see. Undiscarded directive cards. So I don't know that I really have any of those. Oh, that should have actually gone back into the deck. I don't think I've had any. I don't have any directive cards that I need to put back. Reveal any remaining cards from the previous year in the strategic and combat events deck. So I'm looking for things that have 1 by 1. Oh, remaining cards. Oh, you know what? I think I was supposed to be creating a discard pile out of these, and all of those kind of came up. I think I've been blowing this. I'm so sorry. These should have been in like a discard pile, except for these ones that are returned. Say return them. So sorry. So let me see if I can be more clear about what's going on here. So cards that ended up getting played but don't get discarded should go in a discard pile. Okay, I think I've been being very sloppy with this. Okay. So when Ultra got played, Ultra should have been added to, that symbol means it gets added to the next year's events. These two, which got played, they should have been dropped into the discard pile. So then for combat events, loss of confidence should have gone into the next year's cards when it got played, as should Soviet counterattack. And this card should have gone into the discard pile. And this card should have gone into there. So the bottom line is that I have no strategic or combat events left at this point to go through. If I did, I would have gone through and checked them. One second. I'm going to just double check one more thing. Okay. So I would have checked them, and I'm looking at, then if you're checking them, you're looking at these symbols up here, but you're also looking for results that are in this sort of blue. And if they hadn't come up, then I would end up actually implementing them now. But as it is, all of that has occurred, and I'll tidy up my play of these event cards the next year of the game. I was kind of misunderstanding that rather stupidly. So I apologize for that, but we'll try to tidy that up. All right, so now let's go back to figuring out what we're doing here. Sorry, gotta find it. Okay. Now, if there was a landing marker, I would move it, but there isn't. The next landing marker comes in 1944. And now the new general. So we take all the general cards for the current year, space of your board. Place all general cards for the current year on the available generals. So I'm going to grab the generals which are available for 1943, which I think is going to, so I kind of separated them into piles by year. These guys, based on like what it said, he might have been, maybe he should have been in, maybe some of these should have been in the game. But anyway, these are all now available. So we're going to take all of these and we're going to basically put them in the available generals box. Now here's the thing. I have 28, 29, 30, 38. I have 43 generals, so I can only have 30 in the solo game. So I'm going to have to go through this and pick which generals I'm going to discard. But I'll do that between now and the next turn so that I am down to 30 generals. And any of them that I take away will be added to those that come in next year. Okay. Okay, now let's keep going. Okay, no, I think that's it. Wait, what does that mean? Planning segment. The head of OKW and the head of production select directed cards from the decks and placement. All right, well, I'm not playing solo, so I don't play, like, the head of OKW and head of production are just me, so I'm not worrying about that. Okay. And I don't even think that's right. That's the planning segment somewhere in here. Okay, so that is as near as I can tell, that is the New Year phase completed. So we're basically set up for 1943, and that's what we will come back to in the next video. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I know that I'm still really enjoying this game. If you did enjoy it, it'd be great if you could leave a like, leave a comment. If you're spotting things that I'm doing wrong, which I definitely am, please let me know. And if you are enjoying the series, if you're enjoying the channel, it would be great if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll see when we upload new content for the next video. But with all that having been said, we will say goodbye and see you next time on Agility Snips Gaming Table.